the shovel to help himself out. Why, that caused that dirt to give way, and it caved in on him up to his, well, it hit him just below the ribs. And of course, the impact of that knocked his wind out of him. He couldn't breathe. He suffocated.
And he died there, didn't he?
Right there, yeah.
That's what Frida told me.
Yeah, he died in the well there.
Yeah.
Some of these older fellows like Ed Simon, they were there to help get him out of there, and they said, shucks, if they'd have been there, they could have pulled him out.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that he was that far buried, it was the impact of the dirt that knocked the wind out of him, and he couldn't breathe, couldn't inhale. And then he had two children, and one, she had a boy and a girl, made a Quant, that was, she married Albert Quant, that was the daughter, and then Henry was the son. See, and Henry was the grandfather, great-grandfather of these other people.
Okay.
See, Henry had four sons. And of course, that's how you get the other Bosselman.
Yeah. But you guys are not, you don't see each other that regularly.
No, not that. No, Vic and, well, our cousins, second cousins, well, we saw them quite a bit.
Yeah.
There was Victor and Arnold.
Arnold, yeah.
And Elmer and Clarence. Well,
And Clarence.
see, and Elmer's dead and gone, and the other three are alive.
Yeah. And they're living here in Grand Island.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, we see them like the dances and stuff, but I mean, we just we don't associate like we used to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. No, Frida. All right, give it to her.
Then she was living there single, and then Herman Shipman was single.
Yeah, this is Frida. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Frida, that would have been her husband's dad. Well, he was batching on the farm. So one Sunday, he was all dressed up, and he came over there and talked to Mrs. Bosselman, and he said, I'm living here all alone, you're living here all alone, and I think what we should do is to get together and get married and have a family of our own, rather than both of us living alone here, and that's what they did. Well, then...
That's the way it was done in those days.
That was Reiner. And they had Reiner Shipman. See, that's Frida Shipman's husband.
Okay.
So then we were down there to that same generation.
Yeah. Reinhardt is Frida's husband.
Yeah, that was right. And then he was the son of former Mrs. Charles Bosselman and Herman Shipman.
Sure. Okay. Now that's how you guys are related.
Yeah.
She's a feisty little old gal.
Oh yeah, she
really is fine. I mean, she's just fine.
But as you get older, those things aren't, the clarity isn't there anymore. Just like myself, I have to stop and think a little bit once in a while. Didn't have a bit of problem.
Yeah. I understand. Well, that's the connection there.
We had a nice neighborhood there. They're all, mostly all German descent, and not only that, when times were tough, you helped each other. You didn't just live for yourself. And like help, you couldn't afford to hire help at that time because you didn't have the money to pay them. But everybody just exchanged help. You all needed help.
When somebody was sick, you'd go over and help them out.
Oh, yeah, they still do that. Yeah. No, farm life's a wonderful way of life. But no, we had an excellent neighborhood out there. But I suppose if we had been in another neighborhood, you'd have felt that way too.
Yeah.
Because people are.
Yeah.
They're a little kind to each other.
Now, Norman said that soil out there was fine, but bordering on your acreages out there, it begins to get a little thinner, particularly to the north and to the west.
Well, when you get in, we're in the bottom.
You got a ridge up there.
Well, it's not that. It's the slough bottoms there, warm slough, and I don't know, Crooked Creek and some of those go through there. I don't know the name of the one right past us there through our property, but then just a mile north, then the sand hill starts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's good ground deep. But I think this is all trenchant sand. I think it's all erosion sand that's been piled up in hills through the years.
And Bader was telling me that there's a lot of natural hay up there.
This is virgin territory.
Regrowth reseeds itself.
Well, it doesn't reseed, it's sod. It's self-sod. It doesn't, well, it'll reseed too, it's seed, but no, that's original sod.
And so you get 2 or 3 crops of hay per year, at least 2.
Well, no, 2. You cut 2, or if you want coarser hay, you cut once. No.
And then you have natural pasture land for cattle, right?
Well, that's right, too. It's too low to turn around and farm. The water table's too high, see.
I
You can't farm it.
I see.
And then since they put that Sherman County Dam in up there, why, of course, I've been a dirt man, too, you know, contractor. I talked to some of the contractors or the engineers up there when they were building Sherman, and he said, we were discussing that, the effects of the impounding of that water would have on the area here, and he said 11 years after they begin impounding water behind this dam, he said, you'll see an elevation in the water table in Grand Island. Of course, it didn't take much about it, but it was 11 years, and our water started coming up in the elevator, and I can't tell you the exact year that was either, but before that, the elevator tunnels were hot or dry, you know, that rain dust. One day, Cliff Aldersman was a partner in that Third City elevator at the time. We went down the pit for something, and there's just a little puddle of water down there in that dust, like you would have had a half a cup of water distilled in it. And you know, in that real fine dust, the water would just stand in little balls, drop.
Yeah.
And we went down a week later, and then it spread out about the size of this table, probably 6 by 6 feet or something like that. And from then on, it started getting deep. We took 32 inches off the bottom of that lake, so it would be above the water. And now it's higher than that yet. You'd go up there, the water comes up within this side of the top of the surface of the ground. And the same way in St. Paul, my sister lived up there. And about the same time, why it affected their basements too. They'd never had water problems before, but they did then.
And you got that same situation at Worms now in the land.
That's it. When I farmed that ground, that's my sister's now, you know. Used to farm that, of course, it was low ground, but we got along. My brother Norman farmed it too. And in the wet years, you'd have trouble earlier, but then it would dry down. But anymore, it's a struggle to...
You can't plant a crop if you've got a water table that's up that high, can you?
Not only that, the temperature's down, you know, it holds the temperature down.
Okay.
But it's good ground once you get it started. And if you get the crop in there, it'll produce. Those are all history, but I think man changes his own destiny with all this stuff, just like you find these detention cells around town. You know, they were designed, you know, to hold the runoff water back, you know. Now you turn around now, we've got days in up there, and the people in that area now are finding that the impounding of this water and it's standing in all these detention cells is elevating the water table to where we're having basement troubles. Because it saturates the top prior to this, you know, to run off. And the groundwater would stay there. But this way, we're overloading the groundwater. There's an impervious layer of clay or dirt or whatever you want to call it, bentonite maybe, or so they call it buffalo walls up in that area. And your water will not penetrate, won't go through it. So then it's all lying on the surface of this stuff.
I did some work with Ron Bishop out in Central Platte, NRD, and I don't know if you agree with their position out there, which is basically they wanted to build Prairie Bend, and of course before that Mid-States, but Prairie Bend most recently because
that's the dam there.
Yeah, build the dams up there, and there were probably 4 or 5 of them, I don't know. But that too would raise the water table in Grand Island.
Anything like that does. People don't realize that. Of course, they don't think of that either. And in dry years, you need the water. But okay, you can't destroy yourself on the wet years. You take this like up at Kingsley Dam. Shuffs had land up there, you know, and Debbie's dad had quite a bit of ranch land up there. You see, and then from the dam, why that water is always open below there. The seepage keeps it open. They can hunt ducks all winter. There's no ice. It doesn't freeze up. It's always seepage under the dam.
Yeah.
But then they've had to turn some of this land back to grass.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So, that's a funny situation. Wow, you know, they were very basic in this Bosselman eating too. No.
Okay.
And so like I told you, I ran that, I think, the first 15 months. And of course I did it with hired help. Charlotte was our bookkeeper, but then when we got to doing a little more business, well then she would help at noon, you know, and we needed some help, and she was a good cook. And then same way in the evening, she would help finding. And I was writing the checks in the place, and I told him, I said, you know, we're just not getting ahead here.
Yeah.
I said, we've got too many high-priced fellows in here. And Freddie was married, Al was married, so they had a home to support. I wasn't married. And I had income from the farm because I didn't sell out, see? And so I said, why don't we turn around? I'll go back to farming. And I said, then Freddie, you get off the road and you can run this station and sell the trucks from there out of your office. And then we'll put Charlotte in there to managing the restaurant, and we'll hire a bookkeeper. See, that's what we did. And of course, Charlotte was a good cook, and she was just a real good manager.
She knew what she was doing.
Well, that was right. The trade, you know, and they were clean. You know, there wasn't anything about it. There wasn't any. Mother would never tolerate any dirt, any place. And then she was that way. She ran a clean place, and it was good food. Now, and Maxine would help some too. Now, of course, Maxine had children, so I didn't bother her much. I don't think she got in there to help much until. I'm sure she helped some when I was in there too. I know she did when we needed dishwashers at that time. You know, we did it all by hand.
Yeah. Okay.
And she'd help with dishes and things like that. And I don't know, she would wait tables too. But Charlotte usually did the cooking. But
did Lily do any helping out there then too?
Well, she didn't first, but. She was a pie baker, and she baked the rolls. She'd go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning, and toward last she was baking 52 to 56 pies every day. Yeah, they were good pies.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't any two ways about it. They wouldn't have been selling that. And then she made the breakfast rolls, and of course I got up early too all the time. I'd get up from 4 to 5, and I'd eat breakfast out there. Well, then I'd go back in the baking room back there and visit with her a while. But no, she did. But that's the thing that
well, everybody pitched in.
Well, that's right. Everybody did, yeah. And it wasn't so much a matter of selection, but like Charlotte, she was a manager. She knew how to manage stuff, and she was a good cook, and she knew how to put on good meals. And then, like I said, she was precise and neat. Now, more so Lily was a little more, it didn't have to be quite so good, you know.
Yeah.
But there was only one way to run that place, and Charlotte had it. That was right, see? And of course, that's what I felt when I ran it.
Yeah.
But, no, it was a successful operation, and of course...
When did Charlotte leave out there then? Do you recall? Of course, you had gone by that time. You'd gone back to the farm pretty much, hadn't you?
Oh, yeah. But even when I did quit the farm, you know, every time they'd be short of help, you know, help wouldn't show up, why, they'd call up and wonder if I'd work the night shift. Well, then I'd work the night shift. Or any other shift if they were short of help.
Yeah, okay.
And later on, we got established a little better financially. Why then, of course, we had other help.
But Charlotte was there for... I
can't say it just went. Freddie went out to interstate, I think, about... Could I be wrong, 64 and 5?
Yeah, somewhere in there, I think he started.
I think he started building out there about 64.
Yeah.
And then didn't he open somewhere around 65?
Well, maybe a little later than that, Charles. I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but he was getting that neighborhood, see? So then I know they ran it afterwards. But I tell you how long they ran it, I don't know.
Yeah. You mean Charlotte then there?
Charlotte
now. Yeah.
Oh, sure. And Freddie bought it. So then He put Barb and Jean in there at that time, didn't he?
I think that's right. That would track. You bet. Well, whatever. I'm glad you got that in, and I'm glad I got it.
That was the thing, you know, I think we overlooked that the other day, and I thought, you know, that was all part of it. Well, just like Norman, you know, if ever need help, he'd help too. It just wasn't much occasion to do that because he wasn't in the oil business.
Let's talk about some of your early neighbors then. They helped an awful lot. Who were they? Alfred Stratman, you said?
Well, old neighbors that were good to us, you know, that helped raise my brothers and I would have been, Alfred Stratman was one of Dad's closest friends. He was a neighbor, lived right east of us about a mile. And then the Kaiser family and the Symes and the Shears and the Wellers, they were all good people. And they knew, well, they kind of felt sorry for us because Dad wasn't there. And, no, they stepped in like old Fred Kaiser, this fellow I told you just passed away, you know, he was 100. Now, we thrashed for him in 1936 when we started on our own. We bought a thrash machine, you know, and then we had to have a crew, you know, we needed about 5 bundle wagons, so we went over and asked Fred if he'd thrash with us, and so he would, and then his brother Walt thrashed with us. And then Arnold Frank thrashed with us. And then I think Mr. Jim Totter boy thrashed with us too.
How did you pay these people back now then? Would you thrash with them too, or?
Well, we had a thrash machine, you know, we got so much a bushel for the grain that we thrashed. And then of course to help you exchange. Say if you help me, if you help me 3 days, and I only help you 2 back, then I'll give you a day.
But you keep track of that.
Keep track of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of times between Kaisers and us, boy, nobody kept track of any days. They just paid the thrashing expenses. Okay. You know, and then old Fred Kaiser had a brother, Richard, too. Boy, they taught us how to paint and things like that. You know, I tried to keep the barns up, and of course I was getting a lot of paint on the window, and he said, Charles, you know, that's kind of foolish. You turn around and paint it, and you get it on the glass, then you spend half the time taking it off. He said, why don't you see to it you get it just on the wood? Well, I said, I can't do that. He says, yes, you can. He said, it isn't any harder to turn around and draw that bead. He said, you leave 1/16th of an inch on the glass. Because you don't just paint the wood, otherwise your glass rots, your wood rots. He said, you get the paint on the glass about 1/16th of an inch. And he said, you can draw that line straight through there. And you know, he taught me how to paint. And they were like that. They told me stuff.
This is a continuation of Charles' interview at the Naders with the antiques and the collectibles in that house in which he had a part. This was taped on December 15th.
These covers here.
Okay, we're doing a tour of the mansion with Charles, with the old home with Charles, and we're in the butler's pantry just off the kitchen. So go ahead now.
And then this is a hot warming oven, you know, like you have on the stove. That's where it's at, right there. It's not hooked up now, because when I put these cabinets in, you see that's where it hooks up. Okay. And that hot water going through there always kept the food warm.
Was this basically the same, or you added all these cabinets here?
These cabinets on the south side here, on the left side here, were all in here. These were, see, and I put these in, I put a pass-through door. This is one of them in here, so you could shut food from either side. When you put the head of stainless steel oval sink in here, we put this one in, then I made these cupboards.
Okay. I got you.
And this shelf, I had a collection of Jim Beam bottles, and I got so many of them, all up there and up here.
All empty or full?
Oh, well, they were full, but I mean, we emptied them through the years. They said you're only supposed to, but you know, that whiskey doesn't keep.
No, I know that.
So we did. Then we added this one, you know, so we can continue the collection
How many bottles did you have up there?
I can't tell you that.
100?
Can't even tell you that. We had a house full and this full. So there was,
Several dozen.
well, I think it was over that.
Yeah, all right.
50, 60, 70 of them in there.
Were they a collection of some kind or other?
Jim Beams.
Yeah, all kinds of Jim Beam bottles.
Yeah, well, every year they put a different one out, see.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Now, here's your master dining room.
Yeah, and that's paneled in cherry wood.
Okay. That was pretty much the way it was when you came in, right?
That's it was.
Okay.
When we had no painter friend of ours that always did our painting, Fred Rossman. Sorry, here, I got a scar in my throat. But anyhow, I told Fred, I said, well, you have to come up there and paint that ceiling. I said, it's dirty. It's stuff. So he came up one day and he looked at me, he said, Charles, that's not dirty. He said, that's shaded. That's 4 coats of paint on it. He said, don't you ever paint that.
Yeah.
So we did. Beautiful stuff. See, I thought it was the shading part was from age and dirt, but it isn't.
What is it, a plaster ceiling?
Oh yeah, it's yeah, it's plaster, you know, rough, and then they shaded it in. You see the dark spots where they shaded it?
Yeah.
So they took in 4 different coats to shade that.
I'll be darned.
And then, of course, the house is right here. This was from 1934. Then we added this bay window on here to match the one on the south side on the living room. And my uncle was a carpenter, and he said they put that on in 1934. And he said they couldn't get a local carpenter to put this paneling up. They had to get one out of Omaha.
Okay. It's still the same cherry wood, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I know the same.
Yeah. Okay. And they had the tile and floor laid, that sort of thing?
Pardon?
The tile floor here too, that's...
Yeah, on both bay windows and then in the front hall. I don't know, what do you call that?
I don't know. Terrazzo? No, it's a tile, isn't it?
No, that's right, terrazzo.
Okay. Let's go in and look at this...
That lamp over there was in the house. That was sitting over on the other side.
Okay.
No, it wasn't me. I bought that from Roma Donald when she went to a home in Omaha.
Oh, okay. But the chandelier was here.
Yeah, that was in here. Everything was
Pretty much in here.
This dining room set was in the house. Along with this china cabinet. The woman took it out. She was a daughter-in-law. She took it out when they settled the estate. And of course, that built this setup. I tried to buy it from her several times, but she didn't want to sell it because she said she had her dishes. I tried to trade her another one for that we had was larger and oval oak, but she didn't want to. And then when she went to the home, then she told Peg to sell that to me. So we bought
You got it back, huh?
put the set back together. That's a pretty valuable piece of furniture.
You tell. Is this your original teak wood table that you were talking about,
Well, that's
Charles?
the one that soaked me on the house. I used to tell Elizabeth, grew up with Peg, the daughter here, and they were both the same age, and then we'd go by here when Elizabeth and I were married in 57, then we'd come by here, going over to V.E. Evans, the children's grandparents, and she said, I'd sure like to get in that Donald house, man. She said, we used to have a lot of fun in there. It's so nice inside. Yeah. And on the outside, of course, it looked like a jungle. I said, I wouldn't live in that damn Donald house you get here.
I know. But you came in one day and saw this table.
Yeah, she told Mr. Evans about it. And boy, he says, you want to see it. Every real estate man in town has a key to this. They want that estate settled. So he said, told Elizabeth, you meet me there 12:30 tomorrow noon. And he said, I'll take you through the house. So I thought, if that's the case, I'll go see it too, because I've never been in it.
Didn't cost anything extra.
And I walked in, and when he turned the light switch on, that table sat right here. And there was and I've been looking for one like that for about 9 years. 7 or 9, I can't tell you.
Is that a chair? That a bench?
Chair matches it.
Yeah.
See, that's the...
What design is this, Charles? Can you tell?
Well, I can't tell you. The old China clipper captains used to sit and carve them on those trips. That's teak wood.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is a red mahogany center. And I don't know, I think that's That's well, that's teakwood. See, that's why it's dark. The center is mahogany, red mahogany.
Now that's, of course, all hand carved.
Oh, yeah, it's all done by hand.
What would a table like if this run in the market today?
Well, I don't like to mention prices on it. But roughly, I'll tell you, it'd be like that.
Well, a range of...
Oh, a table and chair like that, they probably run around $7,500 to $10,000.
Yeah, okay. That's what...
This table was, this lamp was here, too. That was in the house, too, see?
That's a beautiful piece of
furniture, isn't it? My grandfather said like that when I was a little bit of a kid. Well, they had carbide gas, but it had the same type of...
This is all hand done, too, isn't it?
Well, I can't tell you that. I don't know. But I always admired that lamp so much when I was a little kid. I'd be sitting on Granddad's lap, and he used it for a reading light, too. And it was a nice table.
How did you get interested in the antique business and the collecting?
I don't know. It was just something that I grew up with that I liked all the time.
Was it a young man's interest? You started when you were 30?
Already when I was 12 years old.
Really?
I still got my Valentines and everything from when I went through grade school.
Wonderful.
No, I never threw anything away because, I don't know, a person just cherishes them. And
that's kind of a mark of an antique person or a collectible person.
Right.
Never throw anything away.
I know my older sister used to say, what are you trying to do, kill mother off by saving all this stuff?
Okay, well that goes back a long time then, Charles.
Now this piece here was not in the house. That's one that when I dealt in furniture I picked up. That's a beautiful armoire.
Yeah.
And
you don't see those anymore.
Well, I still have a few for sale. I got quite a collection one time that we bought, and this was one of the finer ones in, so we kept it ourselves.
Would most of these pieces be classified antiques, Charles?
Oh yeah, those are all antiques.
Okay. This desk took my eye too, and
yeah, it took mine too. I'll tell you, that's a work of art.
It really is.
Yeah.
See, we got a light here.
Where's the light switch? I forgot. It should be right over there, somewhere around the corner.
Well, let me take a look.
A nice light fixture, that's crystal. I don't like when I sit here. This used to be our TV room. We had the TV there.
Oh,
and we had two large chairs here and a record player and radio here.
This is a relatively small room off the dining room and off the reception area and leading directly to the curved stairway. But it has this unique desk in it and there's crystals, which Clarence seems is doing some... Yeah, it makes a nice sound, doesn't it?
It chimes.
This is a work of art.
Yes,
really.
Now, on that I can give you the history on that is good because Dan, the butler here, has been here for 38 years, I think, Mr. Donald's. And he said that when in 1934, Mr. Donald got this desk, this grand piano, which this was at one time, from the Salvation Army. And he sent it to Chicago and had a desk made out of it. Now this is in 1934 and it cost him $1,000. But take a look at the exquisite workmanship on that. Now you can't feel the carved or the inset or anything. There isn't a drawer on there that binds or that is loose.
Amazing. Something like that is priceless, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, there were a lot of people wanting to buy that, but of course, Josie wanted to buy it with the house, and of course somebody wanted to buy the house. Well, we thought they should have preference over it. Yeah. Now this is a desk chair, and that has snake heads in here, see, in the arms. If you examine them, they all have quite a carved design. I've forgotten some of them.
Is this basically a lost art now, Charles?
Well,
This carving?
it's all done by machinery at that time. It wasn't. Yeah, it was done by hand.
These bookcases were built in too, I presume.
Yeah, they were in here.
This was your TV room, right?
Yeah, that's right. See, that used to be the front entrance to the house right there.
Ah, okay.
Used to face Greenwich.
Okay.
Now, that's what I'm told by the nieces of the man that owned this. And And in 1918, they put that carport on and put those entries out on that side.
Okay.
And then don't you have the gun collection? That's one I had too, see?
Yeah. Okay. Let's go in the living room now and see what we got in here.
Now that picture my sister Frances painted back there in 1934.
Okay. Now is she? That's your half sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I probably should have kept that, because when you turn around, they want to find a balance in the room where
Yeah.
you can't think of these things.
That's right. Let's go in the living room this way, shall we?
Well, it's a nice house to entertain. You can always get around.
Yeah, your style is not cramped, that's for sure.
Oh, see, we had furniture, pretty good size ones. You could always get around there. We use this for the bar, we could get out.
Yeah. And I've been to a Nader party here, and he handled 20, 30 people very easily in this room.
Oh, yeah.
And of course in the entryway there
I
too.
think we've had 70 and 80, but you have the basement too, you know.
Now you left the pictures here, I see. Or maybe you didn't. Did you have, these pictures were here when you
They
came?
were here, and then